Hi, it's Kim, and it's been a hot minute since I've recorded a video, but I just wanted to review my flower beds and how they were when we first moved into this house, how we first saw it. Now, I'd taken this little clip from a previous video. If you remember how it was out front, those flower beds right out front under the main windows had overgrown vinca and periwinkle and other weeds in there. Plus there were a couple Alberta spruce trees in there. I think the dwarf Alberta spruce. And the front walk, about say 50 feet long, I think, was full of periwinkle. And that just went all the way down under the windows and reached to the driveway. We've since put in a new driveway, more about that later, and we just eliminated that flower bed completely. We had the guys come in and pull the dwarf Alberta spruce, get rid of those. And in this springtime here in March of 22, I only had a few little daffodils that popped up here in the front, next to where I had some of my Hypertufa bowls sitting, because since we were doing all that revamping of the driveway, the patio, the sidewalks, I just kind of had to put them wherever I could find room. But this is what the side looked like. This is where my peonies were. And we had cleaned up some. I think this particular clip was cut from October, where we had tried to mulch in and had pulled a lot and cleaned out those flower beds. But we still have these huge bush honeysuckle trees, and they are just very invasive. They've just taken over and had to be cut down. But right here underneath where they're growing, those straw sticks on the ground is what was left of peonies. And so I wasn't even sure if my peonies, a little bit of cicada holes there, but I wasn't even sure the peonies would come back in the spring, but they did. It was in March that I started to see the little points come up. Meanwhile, we'd taken down all those bushes and everything, except for the hard stumps that you could still see back there that ended up having to be dug out by my son. But the little edges came up, and we had put down some cedar mulch, but well, it was really not cedar, I guess, but the orangey mulch. I didn't want that over the peonies. We later had to have the brick all cleaned, and some of the, I think they called it tuck pointing or something, done on some of the brick. But all that's been done now. I have been able to scrape and scrape and scrape at the poison ivy leaves that were, roots that were still stuck to the house. But even though we cut these down, they still tried to grow through. I did get me some growing hoops and used those circles with sort of a grid pattern. I thought they held up better. And in a few weeks, I had peonies growing up all along that area, and they looked very, very nice. You can see how they are leafing out and welcoming the sun that they had been completely shaded from, because there were so much weeds and brush and everything in that area. So they turned out looking real good. Now, this was last spring. So this spring, I am planning on feeding them with some bulb tone, plant tone, whatever I can find here locally to give them some extra enrichment. They did pretty well. Now, this was later. I think this is in early June, and I found that they were all white, and I was a little disappointed they were all white. I wanted some pretty pink ones, but I'll take the white because they turned out to be really healthy looking. They bloomed pretty nicely, considering they probably hadn't had any care in years and years. I was surprised, but I'm really well pleased with it. Of course, there's some weeds that are coming in there. I've definitely got to work on them. I have no idea of the variety of this particular peony, but they turned out so well. I'm really pleased. Now, I may try to dig up some of my son's who had some real pretty pink ones, and I would love to have something like that over here too. But, I am not sure exactly how that'll do. I'll wait until spring in the early weather, warm times to dig those points. That's what his looks like. He's a bachelor. He doesn't care. He'll gladly let me have those. So we'll try that probably in maybe early or late May, early June, and see what we can make out of that. But right now, I'm well pleased with this flower bed over here. I did not really give him too much supplemental water. Planted Russian sage toward the street side, which did very well, and planted foxglove toward the backyard side. I really want that to multiply this year and look like that, so hopefully that'll work for me. But thanks for joining me today, and watch for another video real soon.